Right, hello, welcome back to Dan Builds. It's been months, I think, since the last video. Pretty sure in the last video I showed you the car having just painted it, just given it a two-part primer to get it all into one colour, make it a bit more like a car so I can really focus on more of the details than just looking at what was a collection of parts still. Yeah, you see it's moved from where it normally sits over here. Ready to go outside because tomorrow morning I'm loading it up very early to go on a car transporter and we're going up to Thruxton. So yeah, I managed to managed to ask if I could use a large, it's not the skid pan, it's a large area like a paddock area or tarmac up there. So they're going to let me do that for a few hours and just test it. I mean, I'm sure if you followed any of the videos, you know it's never been out of first gear out in the gravel outside. So it really is a case of what's going to happen, what's going to come off, what's going to overheat, what's going to not work, what's going to rub. Yeah, just calibrate the speedo, see if that's working okay. See what rattles so much that I've got to redesign. Bed the brakes in, just all the things that, oh, squeaky door, all the things that you really need to do before I go to any serious testing. So you see at the moment the windscreen's in and it is actually bonded. I've done a couple of bonds there and there on both sides just so it won't fall out as and when I brake and it doesn't catapult down the bonnet and smash. The rear window's always been in, well, it's been in for quite some time. I put the fuel cap on. I've tethered the locking fuel cap, that's an RVA requirement. Inside I have, what have I done? I finished that door, I just riveted it in. Not every single rivet's been used, but again they're the right colour ones, just like this door. So I've used the matte black rivets just to make it look like it's going to when it's done. I finished the trim around the windows, the trim around the dash there needed to be done. The dash shroud there, which won't be there for IVA, is just taped in at the moment. Just wanted to see what it looks like and if it does anything and if there's any sun. What else have I done? The biggest piece of engineering. Look at that for a GoPro mount. It's like a giraffe. So that is every single GoPro fitting I've got because I needed to get it up high. I couldn't attach it to the cross member and I couldn't attach it to the top bar because it's too big and there's not enough space at the top. So that is quite some engineering. Yeah, hopefully tomorrow when I'm on the track, well, on the area, that will give you a decent view of everything that's going on. So as and when things do explode, I can look back at the footage and go, there was a warning, or there was no warning, or you can see, you get first-hand view of whatever goes on. So yeah, it's a long day. It's going to be quite a long day because it's a before 6 o'clock start for a ferry, and then yeah, a drive up there. This is just a camera test. Well, I've set the car up the day before we go to Thruxton to do the test. So hopefully I add this into a video that I make, and I don't end up in a ball of flames tomorrow. So we'll see. Yeah, cool. Right, catch you later. So the engine's just stopped, and I've now just worked out that it's because I've run out of fuel. 12 gallons was in here, I say 3 years ago when I filled it up, and it's obviously just been evaporating out, or well, that must be it, because I've done a few miles around the track, probably total, and it's all gone. So we're going to go and see if I can get some fuel. What a dick. Anyway, it's all fun, isn't it? Nothing's fallen off yet, as you've been able to see some stuff. I don't know what the footage is like, but I've been concentrating, so I haven't really spoken to you. Hey, so I'm going to bring the video to a close now. Thanks for watching it so far. I'm aware that I didn't really talk to the camera at all during the footage yesterday when we were up there filming. My mind was on so many different things with the car. I'm obviously really happy that nothing happened to it. It was a good day. Rain didn't help me, obviously having no side windows in it. I was on the truck for an hour up there, so I thought it was going to be soaked, but actually it wasn't too bad when we got there. A few issues I now know about that I'm going to deal with, so I'll just go through those quickly so you're aware as well. So the fuel sender, it's been shown about 3/4 of a tank. It showed full when I filled the thing up, and when I think back now, that was about 3 years ago. So it showed full, and it's worked its way down to about 3/4 because I've been running the thing and all sorts over the years. So I figured that was correct. Then when I ran out of fuel, obviously I know that it's not. We put in another 15 litres there, just a fuel pump, which was next to the track, and the fuel sender the fuel gauge is not showing anything. So what I'll do is I'll left a little access hatch, so I'll have to look at the fuel sender and see whether it's just stuck. But either way, I'll sort that out. That's not too big a deal. If you can remember back the footage, if you just watched it, the oil pressure, the low oil pressure light stayed on, or it flickered on and off on the dash. So I'm not too sure what the deal is there. And on the oil temperature gauge, it works because the needle lifted, but it only got just over 50 degrees. So I don't for a second think that's all the temperature of the oil got to. So I'm going to have a look at those because I think I might have to change those sensors. I'm not sure. Oil pressure, I don't know. Maybe you can make some comments if there's different oil pressure switches which alarm or activate at a different pressure. I'm assuming there must be because different engines must run at different oil pressures. I'm not exactly sure which one I've got here, so that might just be the case. Also, it's worth noting that the engine's still running the brake-in oil. It's only, 15 miles I think it shows now, and that's because the speedo was out. Actually, which leads me on to the next point again. So the speedo, I did the maths on the sums that they give you, or the equation they give you with the Smith's gauge instructions, and that turned out wrong. So it's the electronic ones, you plug it in, and then when I was going along, it was giving me, I had 21 miles an hour on my GPS on my phone, and it was showing about 40. And it was pretty consistently sort of twice what I was actually doing. So I went back into the program of the speedo, and what did I do? I think I was running the setup number of 14,500. Bit of an arbitrary number, but that's just what the calculations kicked out. So then I reduced that down to approximately half that value, to see if I could change the reading to be half of what it was. And it worked out that it didn't work out that way. And then I thought, well, let's live on a prayer here and see if we could even move it a little bit. And I doubled it, went up to about 28,500. 28,500, and then it was spot on for some reason, and I did quite a lot of tests there. So I'm going to rework that maths and see why there's only 3 variables in the sums. But anyway, so yeah, the speedo was working by the end of it, which was actually good. So fuel, speed, oil pressure, oil temperature, the radiator, fan, temperature switch, which is in the top coolant pipe to the top of the radiator, that wasn't working. So I actually bridged the fan, and you probably hear it in some of the videos. The fan's running as soon as I turn the power on. So I bridged those 2 connections, so the fan was constantly running, and I just leaned down through the bonnet and I was just unplugging the actual fan switch. Yeah, otherwise, I mean, these are all minor things. but in general, for the first time it's ever been on anything other than just the gravel outside, and first time it's ever been out of first gear, it was fantastic. It was really good fun. Yeah, it's a bit noisy, it's a bit rattly, but it is a kit car and it's not fully riveted up yet. There's still Cliquet pins in, and the rivets I have put in about 1 every 2 or 1 every 3 spaces. And I haven't put any sound deadening on any in the doors or in the interior because it's going to be going for paint. So yeah, thanks for watching it, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll get a bit more content I think coming now, because it's the road to the IVA. I do have to do one more thing, which you've definitely noticed if you watch the video up to this point, is that the windscreen wipers, when I turn them on, they come on, and when I turn them off, they stop exactly where they are. There is a park feature in the motor. When I wired it up, I just didn't do that. So I need to take the dash out, which is really not what I want to do, but I'm going to take the dash out and redo that wiring so that the wipers will, once they're off, they'll find their home position and they'll stay there. It's an IVA requirement anyway, so it'll have to get done. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll speak at you next time. Thanks, and bye-bye.